everyone, and welcome to Cooking with Francois. We're going to be making chili today as part of the kickoff to my fall series of super fall soups. Some people call chili soup, but I figured with football season getting started, chili would be a good one to start with. The first thing you do is you take 6 slices of bacon, chop it up, make sure it's good quality bacon now, chop it up, and you put it into your pot on the brown sauté setting, which I have already put in and it's already started. So once it gets crispy, I'm going to take it out and then we'll be right back. Also, while we are waiting for the bacon to cook, I thought we would go ahead and measure our spices. So, we're going to need a tablespoon of dried oregano, 1 tablespoon, 2 tablespoons of chili powder, then we're going to take smoked paprika. We're going to have a teaspoon of that. It'll help give it a little bit of a smoky flavor. Sometimes instead of using fresh jalapeno, I will use a chipotle in adobo sauce, which come in a can, and basically that's a smoked jalapeno. Sometimes I'll use that, it just depends on the mood, plus the folks here are sort of like this when it comes to hot food. So I'm just going to go with the regular seeded jalapeno this time. Also a teaspoon of black pepper. And 2 teaspoons of salt. And 2 teaspoons of ground cumin, which is actually one of the ingredients you will find in chili powder. You will not recognize the smell. And those are our spices. I don't have the salt right here with me. As usual, I have forgotten something. But those are our spices, and now we are ready for the spices when it gets time to put the spices in the pot. Alright, as you can see, I have taken our bacon out, but I have left the fat in the pot because that's what we're going to cook our onions and our peppers with. So, first thing we have is 1 large onion. I prefer to cook with yellow onions. Some people prefer white onions. You can even use red onions. It just depends on you. So, my 1 jalapeno, my tablespoon of garlic, and my red bell pepper, and we let that saute in that wonderful bacon fat for about 5 or so minutes. And then we'll move on to the next step. I'm going to do a quick tutorial on how I cut a pepper. I take my pepper, of course my knife and cutting board, and I cut down the side like this. And then I cut down the side like this. And like this. And like this. And then I flop it over. And now all of my seeds are right there. And what I've got left to work with are my pieces of pepper. And then I cut them the way that the recipe calls for. The other type of pepper I'm going to cut is a jalapeno pepper. Please have some type of glove available when you are going to do a jalapeno. It will save you much grief as far as your eyes are concerned, because if you get any of the oils from the jalapeno on you, it's not going to feel very good if you rub an eye or nose or something like that. So please wear gloves when you're doing your jalapenos. It just makes it a little bit easier on you later. All right, got my gloves on. I'm then going to cut the jalapeno lengthwise. Now the recipe that I'm using this for, you do not use any, of course, of the insides. I take a spoon, and you can start really at either end, but if you take that spoon, you can get rid of the membrane and the seeds. So there's 1/2 of my jalapeno. In doing this, you're going to get a lot of the flavor from the jalapeno without getting a lot of the heat. The heat is in this membrane on the inside and the seeds. If you want more heat, then by all means go ahead and use the whole thing with the membrane and everything. But that's not the way that I need it today in the recipe that I'm making. So, an easy way to do a jalapeno, spoon, but make sure you wear these gloves so that you will not set your eyes on fire if you happen to touch your eyes after you're finished. So, that is the way that I cut a jalapeno and any type of bell pepper. All right, our veggies have been cooking, and they're, about 5 minutes or so until they're tender. Now we're going to add our meat. Now the recipe calls for ground beef. You can use any type of ground beef you want. Sometimes at this time of year they even have what they call a chili grind, which is a little bit larger. You can use turkey. I'm just not a big fan of that one. But my favorite meat to use is carne picada, which is a Mexican cut, Central American cut of meat. The chunks are a little bit bigger, and this is what I prefer to use. So, we're going to put the meat in. Maybe you can see it better there. It's in pieces like this. We're going to put the meat in and brown it. 1.5 pounds. This is a little bit more than that. So just use your own judgment as far as the meat is concerned. So turn it to get the meat in the bottom so it can brown. And once it's browned, we'll be back to finish up getting ready to start cooking under pressure. Right now we're still brown sautéing, of course. So, we'll be back in a few minutes. Here it is, after we've browned it, and you can see those nice chunks of meat. Now we're getting ready to move on with the rest of the recipe. All right, let's finish this up and get it under pressure. So here we go. We're going to add 3/4 of our bacon from earlier to the pot. we're going to add our spices to the pot. Looks like a little bit of it stuck in there. I don't know why I did that. I'm going to be putting something else in there anyway. All right, fire roasted diced tomatoes. A can of pinto beans that have been drained. A can of light kidney beans. And a can of black beans, all of which have been drained. A 6-ounce can of tomato paste. Right. A tablespoon of Worcestershire sauce. And 2 cups of beef stock or broth. One. 2. And I'm going to pour a little bit into this can that had the tomato paste in it so I can get the rest of that out. All right, so let's stir that around, maybe get some of the rest of that good tomato paste out. Now, we're going to stir this all together. All right. We're going to turn off the brown sauté. If I can see the cancel button. Cancel, there we go, good. Now we're going to put our top on the pot. Some pressure cookers have this one has a stew soup button, but so in case you do not have that particular setting, I'm just going to go pressure time cook for 20 minutes. And remember, it'll take it a little while to get up to pressure, and then it will begin cooking. After our 20 minutes, we let it release naturally for 15 minutes, then release what's left and stir it, and you are ready to have some delicious chili. So, we'll be back. All right. Oh my, that does look good. If you like yours a little thicker, you can always cook it with the lid off for a little while, or you can always add some mesa to it, which is sort of like yellow corn flour, not meal, but corn flour mixed with a little bit of a slurry. But it looks grand to me. So, it's going to be very, very hot, but let's taste it. Very good. So as you watch the game, have yourself a bowl of pressure cooker chili. And remember, let's dig in!